Hello, everyone. Welcome to Self Love You. Today, I want to try something a little bit different. I want to speak to you some words that are in this book that I have been reading today called The Six Pillars of Self-Esteem by Nathaniel Branden. I want to read these things to you and maybe discuss a little bit about what I read. I know I haven't done that before, and I know that's not typical. But I feel like if you just want to listen to something that's very, very enhancing to your sense of self, that's very enhancing to your self-esteem, I figure that I could read these words to you and speak them over you, and you can go about your day driving around, driving to work or cooking dinner or, whatever it is that you're doing right now. And I can just share these valuable truths that are in this book. And it's really easy for me to do, and it feels good to me. Hopefully it feels good to you. Let's try this, okay? So it's Nathaniel Branden, Six Pillars of Self-Esteem. I believe he was dating Ayn Rand, and they had a traumatic breakup. I need to study exactly what happened, but he's like big time here. So I just thought it was very interesting. I'm just going to read like the main points. This says, we tend to feel most comfortable, most at home, with person whose self-esteem resembles our own. So we feel more at home with people that have a same level of self-esteem as us. So if we find ourselves totally and completely enamored with a narcissist or a borderline person who has low self-esteem, then we can the mirror is pointing right back at us. We can know that we feel comfortable with this person because we have work to do on ourselves, which we're doing right now, right? And then there is no greater barrier to romantic happiness than the fear that I am undeserving of love and that my destiny is to be hurt. Isn't that the truth? There is no greater barrier to romantic happiness than the fear that I am undeserving of love and that my destiny is to hurt. So if you feel that you are undeserving of love, you're going to go after these relationships with people that are unavailable, with narcissists, with borderline people. It's a barrier. It's a barrier to love. And who was it that says it's our job to find out what is the barrier to love and remove those barriers to love? And this is a barrier to love, to feel that you deserve to be hurt. So it's very important to do the work on yourself, to go in and argue with those voices and come out on top with your higher self and say, no, I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be happy, and I have what it takes to be happy. Okay, the next one. Is this good? Y'all like this? Is this helpful? Let's keep going. What is required for many of us, paradoxical though it may sound, is the courage to tolerate happiness without self-sabotage. Oh my gosh. Is that not so good? Basically, we need to come to a place where we can tolerate happiness without sabotaging ourselves. Does that resonate? That resonates with me because as I began to heal and become stronger as a person, I began to have anxiety in certain situations where I was flying high, or I still had, I don't know, I'm not going to speak that over myself, but there have been times when things are going great and then suddenly I began to sabotage myself. Or, like you can do that with diet and exercise. Like, I'll be on like a roll and I'll be running every day and doing this every day. And then all of a sudden I'll, skip a week or whatever. And heaven forbid that ever happen. But it happens, you're on a diet and you eat a candy bar, or you're trying to quit drinking and you buy a bottle of champagne, a bottle of whiskey, or, whatever it is, you're trying you sabotage yourself because happiness is intolerable because you're not used to being happy. So one of the pillars of self-esteem, one of the things you have to do to create a higher sense of self-esteem is to learn to tolerate happiness. It sounds so simple. It's like it should be really easy for us to tolerate happiness. It's harder than it sounds. Okay, high self-esteem people can surely be knocked down by an excess of troubles, but they're quicker to pick themselves up again. Nathaniel Branden speaks in the book about how high self-esteem is immunity to life. It's like your immune system. They say that all of us have at one time cancer in our bodies, but our immune system is able to clear out the cancer, to clear out the negative aspects, those of us who, are walking around healthy, that our immune system is what does that for us. So your self-esteem is like your emotional immune system. It kicks ass of anything that comes in and tries to stop you. If you feel like, oh, like everybody has a bad day. Like you may have, your puppy may die, and that's a horrible thing. And you may feel horrible, but you've got to be able to get back up. That was a bad example. You may, make a mistake. Something may happen, but you've got to get back up. You may go on a horrible date with somebody from online dating. You got to get back up. You may have a big blowout with your husband or wife. You got to get back up. And that is what people of high self-esteem do. It's not that they necessarily don't have the same things happen as people with low self-esteem. We all have the same things happen. We all have troubles. It's just someone with a high sense of self, someone who knows that they can and knows that they deserve success in all areas of their life is going to be someone who is capable of getting back up more quickly. Isn't this wonderful? I love it. I love this stuff. I could just take a bath in it. Okay, the next one. If my aim is to prove I am enough, the project goes on to infinity because the battle was already lost on the day I conceded the issue was debatable. And that is another good one. Woo, full of good ones tonight. So basically, if I'm trying to prove myself, the minute I'm trying to prove myself is the minute I already lost, because there's nothing to prove. It's already proven. And so the minute I put it up there for debate, it cheapens it and it makes it cancels itself out. So if you're trying to prove yourself, you're missing the mark. You're fighting a battle you've already lost, because the fact is that you're already worthy and you have inherent worth because you're a child of God. You're an equal person on this earth with breath. So you're already worthy and you can't really compare yourself. Okay, here we go. Self-esteem is not a substitute for a roof over one's head or food in one's stomach, but it increases the likelihood that one will find a way to get to such needs. So self-esteem, is not like a primary need, like on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, food and water and shelter. Those are like the basic needs. Self-esteem is not a basic need, but self-esteem will help you, if you believe you can and believe you deserve it, it will help you get your own needs met. And that includes food and clothing. Someone with a very low self-esteem may become homeless, may become jobless, may, not have the things that they need in this life. I think that's very good, don't you? We have reached a moment in history where self-esteem, which has always been supremely important psychological need, has become an important economic need. He's talking about how economically in the era that we live in, how self-esteem is important. It's important because we have so many choices, so many options, and even more so than whenever he wrote this book, is it important today? Because we have so much thrown in our face. We see so much of other people, what other people have. We have so many opportunities. There's so many things we can do with our time and so many things we can create. We really need a good, strong sense of self and a sense of value in our thoughts and feelings and a sense of respect for our own true self in order to succeed in this world and to, compete in society. We have to compete for things. I don't know if you can quote me on that, but it sounded right. Okay. If you lack adequate self-esteem, the amount of choice offered to us today can seem frightening. So if you don't have a good sense of self-esteem, you better, go and become a clone. You better go and become a drone. You better go and join a cult, because you're going to have so many options that if you're not in tune, if you're not tied in, if you're not plugged into your truth, and you don't believe in your truth, and you don't back up your truth, and you don't respect your truth, you don't listen to your truth, then you're going to be in trouble in this world with all this information. Okay. Are y'all ready to keep going? We've got some more time. To have a high self-esteem is to feel confidently appropriate to life. To have a high self-esteem means you feel appropriate to life. I don't know if you know what it feels like to not feel appropriate to life, but I do, and it sucks. It is the worst feeling on the planet. It is a feeling of toxic shame. When you don't feel appropriate to life, when you don't feel like you belong on this planet, when you don't feel like you belong in, a people group, where you don't feel like you have a place in this world. That is how it feels whenever you don't feel appropriate to life. High self-esteem means you feel appropriate to life. It means that you feel that you can, and it means you feel you deserve it. And if you don't feel it, then you do everything in your power to get to that place, because it is possible to heal from all forms of lacking self-esteem, because the worth is already there. It's just a matter of you realizing it and then taking action, taking positive action in the area that will cause esteem to come to you. So it's not just having self-esteem, and he doesn't have a quote here so far, but it's not just having self-esteem, it's doing behaviors that back up how good you feel about yourself, how you feel that you deserve it, how you feel that you can do it. So taking actions in the area of your self-esteem is vital to building your self-esteem. It builds more self-esteem, okay? I'm going to read that one again. To have high self-esteem is to feel confidently appropriate to life. Okay, the next one is the right use of our consciousness is not automatic. It's not wired in by nature. So, okay, here's the deal. Consciousness, whenever you're a conscious being, this is the first concept I ever got of consciousness, was reading this book 10 years ago. This is my second time around. Okay, consciousness is being awake, realizing, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I telling myself? What is my self-talk? What am I thinking? How am I feeling? What's going on? I need to wake up here to what's really happening. And that's whenever the healing starts, is whenever you begin to become awake. Not whenever you're awake to what other people want from you, not whenever you're awake to whatever the religious dogma is that you're following, but whenever you're awake to your own inner truth, to your own inner leanings, to what your heart is telling you, which God created our heart. We have a heart, and he put it there for a reason, for us to listen to who we really are inside and how we really feel. Not the pain, not the false messages of the false teachers that came and told us things that were wrong in our childhood, but the truth of who we are. Okay, now I forgot what I was saying. I got off on a tangent. The right use of our consciousness is not automatic. It's not wired into our brain by nature. And what he's saying in this is that our brains, we have evolved in life. So we're evolved to this level. And our brains are wired, hardwired, from our limbic system, from our internal system. Our brains are hardwired to find problems, to find fault. That's why you may have such a strong inner critic. And that's why the id, the super ego, may be so strong. Maybe you picked up so strongly on the voices of the negative parent or the negative parents or the negative teacher or whomever made you feel less than, the negative step parent, whatever. That's why those voices are they're so loud, is because we are hardwired to evolve and to survive. And we do that by finding problems. However, this is not conducive to living a happy life. We don't have to fight bears anymore to survive. We don't need to be searching for problems all the time. We need to be able to find peace now. And so it's like we have to evolve consciously and wake up and use our cerebral cortex and overcome the limbic that's saying, freak out right now, be anxious, be worried, freak out, freak out, freak out. We have to override those systems, which can be a difficult thing, especially if you have PTSD. We have to use the cerebral cortex and use our higher level brain to control our conscious thinking and to begin to see reality as reality is, that I'm not going to die right now if, this happens, and not be so catastrophic in our thinking. I could go on for days on that one. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have just a little bit of time left. We are the one species that can formulate a vision of what values are worth pursuing and then pursue the opposite. Well, folks, I didn't get that far in the book today. I just got through a couple of chapters, so I'm not going to really expound upon that last one. And I'm going to take these last couple of minutes to just thank everybody for watching and say thank you so much, and say I'm so happy, and say I hope you're happy, and say that you can do it and that you deserve it, and that everything you want in this world is at your fingertips, and all you have to do is decide that you're worthy and decide that you can. And it is I give you all my best wishes. Have a blessed night. Talk to you soon.